Hello, I'm Delit. It's Sunday, November 10th, and I am excited to share some of my cross-stitch projects with you. So I have some new projects and some updates on things I've been doing, and I came across a few old projects that I thought I would show you that I'd like to start working on. So we'll start with a project that actually is my mother's project. I've shown this before. I'm just kind of showing you my progress on this. But she has been stitching this. She hasn't been working on the main design lately. It has a few things she still needs to do on it to be finished. And she had put the border in. It wasn't completely done, but I recommended she take it out and offered to put it back in. She didn't want to do that. That was because it was not centered exactly right. And this gold here that's got regular floss and metallic thread, she'd gotten frustrated with the metallic thread, so she had just done the floss. And I said that it would look better with the metallic floss mixed in. It just would sparkle more. It did still look nice the other way. Anyhow. So I've done a lot on it from the last time I showed you. The top is getting close to being done. This part in the middle is complete, probably through about there. And so I'd still just have to finish the swirly gold, the thinner gold across the top. I've almost finished this over here. There's a little bit to do. And then over here I had finished this, but I had done it wrong. And it wasn't going to work with the swirly gold being in the wrong place. It wouldn't match up and look right. So I took out the part that I had done wrong, and I need to still put that back in. But I have started going down the side over here. So then once this top is done, there will just be 3 sides left to do. And yeah, maybe one of these days she'll decide to work on this some more. And then once that's all done, we can get it framed. And I'm not sure if she's going to put it up in this room or another room. That's the project I've worked on the most, so that's why I showed that to you first. That and because it's different from the others because I'm doing it to help my mother finish hers. So I've started a bunch of projects. To me, it's a bunch of projects. Let's see. I'll start with my biggest project, which is a tablecloth for this table that seats 10 people in this dining room. This house was built to accommodate a dining room, to accommodate the table when it has all of the leaves in it. And it's a great size for a dining room. It's very hard to find a dining room this big nowadays. People with their great rooms, with their dining table in the same room as their television and their disposal and everything else. People a lot of times don't have a formal dining room, but my mother really wanted that, and it really is kind of nice. This is how I have a place where I can come and do my videos because it has doors on it. It's not like open to the rest of the house. Sometimes when you're planning out a house, you're thinking about certain parts of how you want to live and forgetting that sometimes, man, it is nice to not be around everybody. So they can do their thing and you can do your thing. I am sorry. This is 8 yards of fabric and I'm lost in it. Anyhow, I'm making a tablecloth. I'm using red. It's kind of more of a Christmassy tablecloth. I'm using red thread. Here we go. I haven't done a whole lot, so I had to search. Oh, and it's inside out, so not done yet. So there's not a lot to show you, but this is what I have stitched. It's really small. There, you should be able to see that. I'm gonna have to fold this back up, but that is gonna be a task. So I will do that in a minute. Let me grab the book that has the pattern. Okay, comes from, I'm choosing motifs from this Dover publication. It's probably out of print. Chartered Peasant Designs from Saxon, Transylvania. And I'm gonna add on this, I bought a bolt of 8 yards of linen look blend fabric. So it's pretty small. It's probably 28 count, if I remember right. They had linen, straight linen, but it wasn't as white. So I got the linen look that has linen mixed with something else. So on the side, I bought the 8 yards, cut it in half. I need 4 yards for the table. It's a long table. And then the other 4 yards I'll cut in half, and so on each side. So on the sides, I'm going to cross-stitch motifs going along. I haven't started that yet. Maybe with like a corner motif on each corner. And then down the middle, I'll stitch red motifs going down the middle. A space in the middle for like a vase or something. My mother suggested that, and when I thought about it, I decided that was a good idea. So 2 motifs that are the same, like the one I showed you that I started stitching, on opposite sides of that, and then some more motifs going down the edge. Not the edge, down the center. And then bordering the motifs along the side, I'm hoping to do a hem stitch underneath that towards the hem. And then if I make a lot of progress on this tablecloth, which some people may think I will never finish, and they may be right, but I am enjoying starting it and working on it. If I make a lot of progress, then I would love to include more drawn thread work, because I would like to learn that. That's white on white. And I love it. So the motif that I showed you I'm stitching is this motif. So I've been stitching up here. Haven't made it very far. I have a few more stitches to do even up there. But this is a cross. So this, like I said, is my Christmas tablecloth. Even though it's not super Christmassy with like Santa Claus and Christmas trees and things. But I'm going to do some deer. These are deer by a brook. And according to the man who did all the research for this book, they symbolize the soul thirsting for forgiveness from God. So I had picked out other motifs to do on the tablecloth, but I don't remember what they are. Hopefully I will have written it down somewhere or remember when the time comes. But for now, I have a lot to stitch before I get to that point. Okay, so I was really excited to do that. I got a discount for buying the whole bolt. That was from Joann's, and yeah, it was about $80 still, even with the discount, because it was a bolt of linen, not straight linen, but you know. Anyway, this is another new project of mine. This is on hopsack linen, which is linen mixed with viscose, which I also got from Joann's, only $14.99 a yard. But I needed a really big piece of linen. Their fabric is 52 inches wide, so that helped. And I will show you the pattern. I was so excited to get this and get started on it. Now, I haven't done a whole lot. That's kind of typical of me. So, the pattern is in a binder because it's enormous, because the piece is enormous. It's about 500 stitches by, more than 500, by 400. Yeah, and I'm doing it on basically a 28 count fabric, so over 2 threads, but there are sections that you do over 1 thread. The lady who did hers, here we go, 535 stitches high by 441 stitches wide. Okay, it's called Virginia, a Cumberland County inspiration. So this was done by Teresa Baird. I think it's her maiden name down here. And she has designed a bunch of samplers. She did a bunch for Maryland and then for some other states. So what she did was she bought an antique sampler and then kind of based her design on that. She adapted it and made it her own. This is the antique. And she gives a lot of instructions in here. She has a lot of embroidery stitches that are complicated. So I anyway, need the diagrams and very specific instructions on how to do it. I haven't done any of that part yet, so we'll see if I succeed. She used silk, so even though I was nervous about using silk, I decided to do it despite the fact that it's probably cost 10 times what DMC floss does. Somewhere between 9 and 10 times what DMC floss costs. So it'll be a few $100s that I have spent by the time I buy all the floss. I haven't at this point. The pattern itself was like $70, which I never spend that kind of money on a pattern. So anyway, I in fact still don't have all of the pages of the pattern in here because I need to get some more page protectors, probably 5 or 6 more page protectors, but yeah, that's gonna take a while. So I just picked a cream colored hopsack linen that they have at Joann's. I start in the middle, so I started in the middle, and I have just bought a few skeins of silk floss, and at the rate at which I cross stitch, I won't need more for a while. I'll probably get it anyway, but yeah, who knows? Maybe I will just take off and really get a bunch of cross stitching done. I have discovered that I have a disease in my spine or neck, so I doubt that that's going to happen. But that's why my neck gets tired. Anyway, so this is just the black. I use NPI needlepoint silk, needlepoint ink. This one is black and white range, $9.93. So that's the black, which I've used for the poem that she has in the middle, which, I should read to you. It's beautiful. She came up with her own poem about Virginia. So these are just letters in the poem, and I'm trying to get each line of the poem so I can stitch going across horizontally. And then I had ordered a brown. It's maple brown range, $9.13. And that's just our dirt underneath. But that will allow me to stitch farther to the right or left on the design, which will get me to a place where I can stitch the gold border, this shade of gold, which is maple brown range, $9.11. So that right there is $15 worth of floss. And if I were to spend $15 on DMC, I'd have a fistful of floss. And if you haven't stitched on floss, very soft. So I do enjoy the experience of stitching on it, and I'm hoping that when the project is done, it will look better. I don't know. You just use 1 thread when you stitch over 1, and then 2 threads when you stitch over 2. Not if you do it on a smaller count fabric, but because I'm doing it on a larger count, 28 count. I say larger count, 28 is a smaller number. I think you know what I mean. The holes are larger, and when you do 40 count, the holes are much smaller. They're much closer together. So, yeah, I have a lot to do on that project. And let me just talk to you a little bit about the design before I move on to something else. I was very inspired by the fact that Teresa started doing all these designs when her mother got sick and then died. And that was difficult for her to deal with. And so she put a lot of time and energy into embroidery, which brought her a lot of joy and comfort. And it was very therapeutic. And look at the beautiful things that she achieved. I mean, to me, this is the most beautiful pattern I've ever seen. I'm going to just hold it closer so you can appreciate it. And the poem goes like this. Virginia, oh Virginia, was there ever a land so fair? With all its wondrous beauty, it frees my soul from care. Soft birdsong sweet and sunshine bright, where dogwoods bloom so pure and white. From majestic mountains the rivers flow, cascading to the sea below. And when God above the heavens planned for those on earth mere mortal man, he created exactly on the plan of beautiful old Virginia. And she has some of those kinds of details in the pattern, like dogwoods and birds, and just it's really lovely. And she has won awards, like the grand prize when she enters it in design competitions or anything like that. So, and everything she designs is really spectacular. I can't praise it highly enough. It's just fantastic. So I did something I don't usually do and bought that, but this is how I justified it. People have given me money for gifts, like for Christmas or birthdays, and frankly, I actually haven't gone and gotten the gift when they do that. I appreciate it because I do, benefit from that, but I'm really bad about actually spending the money on the thing that I want. So that was how I justified spending money on something I normally would not. I say, this is what you got me for Christmas and my birthday and another birthday and another Christmas. So anyway, there we go. Some people don't have a need to justify doing something like this. I don't. I do know why I do, but it's an inherited gift. Okay, I was excited to do this one too. Look at this beautiful color of blue. It's called Touch of Blue from Zweigart. We'll talk about the fabric and then the pattern. I haven't really stitched much on it, just got it started really. It's a half yard of 32 count Touch of Blue linen fabric. It's 27 inches by 36 inches. So, and it is enormous. Look at this. And the nice thing is I got this from 123 Stitch, comes super fast. Shipping is cheap. I love it. They always do such a nice job. The fabric is always serged. I don't know if that's Zweigart that does that or 123 Stitch, but I love it. Anyway, it's huge. I'll probably, when this is done, hang it upstairs in my sitting room or my bedroom. My bedroom has yellow walls. It would look really pretty in there. Or I have a light blue, very light, lighter than this, light blue walls in the sitting room. And I don't really have much on the walls, so I have room for a really big a few really big cross-stitch projects. I've just stitched a couple of words, and then I'll show you. I'll show you the pattern after I show you this. So I'm stitching over to This is DMC floss. I'm sure you can stitch it in another kind of floss. That's just what I chose to do. And let me show you the pattern. It's Rosewood Manor. It's my first Rosewood Manor pattern, but that is not because I have only recently discovered Rosewood Manor. I've admired her patterns for a long time. That's Karen Kluva, does those designs. Sorry, I have all of the patterns here to show you, and not in the right order, so it takes me a minute, but now we've got it. This is called And a Forest Grew. There's a lot of lovely details in this. This is a verse from Genesis about the Garden of Eden and the tree of knowledge of good and evil and the tree of life. And there's like little forest animals and lots of birds in here, kind of hidden away. Hopefully you could see them. There were like little rabbits in the tree, and there's like butterflies and a whole bunch of different things. And every kind of tree. And the reason that I decided to do this for my first pattern from Rosewood Manor, in June I had COVID and couldn't breathe and as a result, couldn't sleep for like weeks on end. It was really hard. And to cope with like those unending hours at night when you cannot sleep, plus you can't breathe, and none of that's gonna change anytime soon. Like it's just gonna be that way for a while. I had to like occupy my mind with things. And so one night I decided to try to think of every kind of tree there is that I could think of. And there were a certain amount that I couldn't think of. And I had to go get my encyclopedia out or get online and watch YouTube videos on how to identify trees from a distance, from up close, using their bark or their needles or their just like pine cones or the shape of the tree, the time of year when they, at what time of year is it when they're changing, where do you live? That tells you what tree it might be. So I just loved that she had every kind of tree in here and all the different ways that she decided to represent trees. I'm going to go really close so that you can see the detail on her design. Anyway, you can see all the different ways she decided to represent trees. She even has a palm tree in here. And she has other patterns in there that you can do, like pin cushions or needle fob, scissor fob, needle book, and different things. And you can take any of this and like rearrange it to make a beautiful pillow or table runner or whatever you want. So I just love it. I've always loved trees. But I became really obsessed with it in June. And I just saw a pattern just the other day, yesterday or the day before, in a Flosstube of someone who had just designed it themselves and they were just releasing it. It had like 9 trees and one of them was a saguaro cactus. So I think I want to get that because, and she has more patterns that are kind of focused on trees. I just love it, but I don't know how long it will take me to stitch this. Plus my, and I never told you the name of this pattern. I told you the name of the pattern, but not the company. I told you who the designer was, but her company is, this one is Heart's Ease Exemplar Works. If you want to look it up online and see her other patterns, she has a blog about all this, and there's a few people that carry her stuff. And then, of course, Rosewood Manor is easy to find, and this lady, has designed a ton of stuff. And I would own, for both of these women, I would own everything they've designed. And if I could make it all, I would make it all. And wouldn't that be great? A room of Rosewood Manor designs. I know one of you out there has it. I would love to come to your house. Just look at your beautiful needlework. So that is that. I've just started on the poem, not the poem, the verse from the Bible, because I start in the middle. But once I go across on the line, then I can start on the tree. Once I get to, start on the tree, I can go this direction. When I get to the top of the tree, then I can start coming down on the other side. And yeah, it'll be nice. But that's in the future. Okay. So let's see. Here's a project I had shown you that I have been undoing, making less progress on, because I was going to add a couple of rows. This is huck weaving, not cross stitch. I had added a couple of rows to this, and then I had saw a mistake that I felt like I needed to take out to be able to do those rows. So now I have to put all this back in, like half of it. I don't know if that means I'm going to have to take, like, 2 or 3 rows out and put them back in. But that's where I'm at now. I kind of regretted it after I did it and thought, couldn't I have found a way to do that? But anyway, when I'm done with that, I'll hem it and give it. I had planned to give it to my sister, but it just is taking me a while to get to that point. So I'm not sure the last time I showed you this napkin if I've stitched on it. That would work nicely with my tablecloth, and it comes from the same book of patterns. But I thought I would show you. Sorry, I've kind of mixed in my new projects with my old projects because I made this video once and made some mistakes, so I'm making it again, and now they're in a different order than they were in before. But, so this is the design from this, these peasant designs from Saxon, Transylvania. So this is the base of the vase, and then these are like flowers. This is really, really tiny. I haven't counted to see what count it is. But anyway, I don't know if I'll wind up just doing one or if I'll do like a row of them or go all the way around the napkin. This is just one napkin so far, so perhaps I'll just wind up with one on each napkin. Sorry, deciding where to set my stuff. Okay, I don't think I've shown you this project before. So I got this lovely Belfast linen, platinum Belfast linen from Zweigart. Mitchell is always just a little bit pricier than Zweigart, and I feel like Zweigart is just fine. 27 by 36 inches. I got it from 123 Stitch over probably the summer or September. I've had it for a while. So yeah, it's really long. The design is going to be vertical, and I've had the pattern for it for a very long time, 25 years or so. But haven't started on it just for the need to get the right size fabric. So I start in the middle, and that's all I've done is start. Partly, I think I needed more floss. But in any case, I'll just show you. This could be upside down. Like, it may be this, or it might be this. They're just leaves. And the pattern is a Marie Barber design. Sorry, I don't want everything to fall on the floor. And also, one arm is just not very strong. Okay. For how many things I have piled up. This is from a book that's probably out of print, Cross Stitch the Special Moments of Your Life by Marie Barber. And the very first design in the book is one I've wanted to do for a long time. I think it's so pretty. It's an alphabet sampler. So those leaves kind of go around these letters. So it's either the K or the N. I can't remember which letter, but they're in the middle. This is the pattern, and then it's in here. So anyhow, I have a lot more to do for that. I just got it started, but I was excited to start on it. I have a couple of projects that I started that I'm just coming up with my own pattern for. So I will show you those. I don't think I showed you this one before. This is MCG Textiles 32 count Belgian linen. This is probably Twilight Blue. I think it goes like this. And I'm making a sampler to honor my grandmother, who I'm named after, Delet Elizabeth Jenkins Lockhart. And the white is her farmhouse that has now been demolished. It was built in the 1800s, and that's where she died. And it was part of Arcadia Mobile Park, just outside of Winchester, Virginia. My mom and her brothers and sister all grew up there. When we would go to visit Grandma, this is where we visited her. So this is an anchor floss, white, 2 threads over 2 threads. This is the house, and these are the spaces for windows that I'm putting in there. Yeah, so I'm going to try to do this with anchor floss, and it's going to have a variety of things, which I will be excited to show you as I go along. I got the idea for it from the Heartsease Exemplar Works pattern that I showed you a little bit ago, the one that's enormous, the 535 by 441 stitches that I'm doing in silk. Before I bought it, I thought, well, I could do something like that to honor my grandmother, who's from Virginia, because I had thought, oh, wouldn't it be nice to get that and do that, honoring the fact that my mom is from Virginia, my grandmother, all those people. And then I thought, well, I don't know that I can afford it, and it's huge. I'll do something smaller, and I'll just design it myself. And instead of that house, we'll put Grandma's house, and then we'll put things to kind of like symbolize Grandma and things about her. Like in the grass, I'm going to have a bread oven in the ground. So there will be a loaf of bread in the ground, because Grandma baked bread in the ground, in an oven in the ground. And just things like that. And before it was a mobile park, it was a turkey farm. So there will be a turkey or two at least in there. Anyhow, that then later I decided to do another sampler to honor someone. So I got this hop sack linen from Joann's, which this is the natural color, I think. The one for Heartsease Exemplar Works is more of a cream. This is more natural colored, like more beige. And I just got a half a yard, but I'm only using half of that half yard. Well, it's a half yard wide, so it's 18 inches wide, and then it's 52 inches the other way, because the fabric is 52 inches wide. So I haven't decided what I'm going to use this for, but this is where I'm doing my sampler to honor my 3rd great grandmother, who immigrated from Denmark and crossed the plains, but didn't make it all the way across the plains, because she died in a cattle stampede in Nebraska, which was tragic and sad. Anyway, she was born on Valentine's Day. Her name was Anne Marie Bendixson Hansen. Her husband and children continued the journey to Utah. That is on my father's side of the family. His mother was a Hansen. And so, yeah, this was her, was not someone she ever knew. It This lady died in 1863, and my grandmother was born in 1912. But anyway, the hearts are because she was born on Valentine's Day. So I have a heart border going around. There will be a heart in each corner. I need to take this out. I've done a few hearts that I've just not put in the right place. So I'm taking them out. Let's see, this is 28 count linen. I'm doing it over 2 threads. It's like not on the same row where it needs to be with the other things in the design. And it's over too far. So I have to take out what I was doing. And these hearts that are most of the hearts, not the corner hearts, are a slightly different design. When I did the corner heart, I did it so it could be not like vertical, horizontal, but like on a diagonal, you know? And I couldn't, like, my brain isn't big enough to figure out how to do that this way. So I had to do it another way and decide that was okay. And then I put a little white flower inside the heart. And this is a prairie rose, which I designed, that tiny little rose. But it's going to be part of the border. So there will be hearts all around, and then the prairie rose will like intertwine all the way around. So I'm going to do other roses that are like the bud or not quite face on, fully open. All the leaves and the vine itself, still have to add all that. I think along the outside I'm going to do a thin border just to make it more complete. And then on the inside of the pattern, on either side going down the side, I'm going to have a blue vase with a tall rose growing up out of it, a Queen of Denmark rose to honor the fact that she was from Denmark. And then I think on one of the vases I'm going to do either a white or a light blue swan. They'll be blue vases, so I think that will be pretty. I'm not positive. I might do a different, just kind of decorative design that's not a motif. But if I do the swan, then on the other vase I was thinking of doing a mermaid. The swan and mermaid are, I was trying to think what could symbolize somebody being Danish or from Denmark, and I didn't have a lot of ideas. But I did think of Hans Christian Andersen, who wrote The Ugly Duckling, who grows up to be a swan, and The Little Mermaid, which is a lovely story. And I thought that maybe those were things that I could design to go on. If it's a large, tall vase, I could design something that would look good on that and make it look more elegant and pretty. And also I was not sure how much room I would have in the middle of the pattern where I want to put, you know, an alphabet, something like with her name and some other information about her. And then I wanted to put a verse from a hymn, a Mormon hymn that kind of relates to that whole thing of not being left in the prairie. I just hate that she was buried in this lonely wilderness. She's buried at Goose Creek, Nebraska. So I was thinking of doing either like a flying geese border, like from quilting, you know, somewhere in there, or I might just put actual geese like in flight, one or two. I was going to have a willow tree to symbolize the grief of her loss. Also, when she was young, her mother died, and so she had experienced a certain amount of grief herself before she died at 40, which I felt like was too young to die even back then. She had young children that had to grow up without a mother, and she never got to get to Utah and live out this dream of whatever it was she was trying to achieve, you know. She had just become Mormon, so she hadn't been Mormon very long. And whatever it was that, you know, made her leave all of her family and friends in Denmark and go live an entirely different life in America. I don't know why she left exactly, if it was just, you know, that feeling of I want to be with other Mormons, but I really miss Denmark, or they had had a war in Denmark with Germany, and so maybe it was also, there were a lot of Danish immigrants at that time who were not Mormon also. And so I thought, well, maybe it was socioeconomic, you know, or political, or I don't know. You don't really know what someone's life was and why they decided to do something. So anyway, I think I'm going to put a crown in there for her, and like just a tiny little motif, and maybe a tiny ship because of her coming across the ocean. Anyway, and then with the willow tree, some sheep, because her mother had died when she was young, and 2 of her children that she had first died as small children. So I thought that would be nice to kind of memorialize them as well in her design. I'm not sure what else I might put in there. I could put a tiny Danish flag if I, like maybe on the boat or something. I don't know where I would put it, but the Danish flag makes me think of the Swiss flag, actually. It's red and white. So it doesn't really go along with the color scheme I've got going on, but anyway, I've enjoyed planning that out and thinking about it, and those are my new projects. So now let me show you, and I think I showed you, no, let me show you some progress I've made on some projects. So I think I showed you that I started this dimensions kit that my sister-in-law gave me. Let me show you the pattern a little more. I'm going to show you that I've been stitching on this poppy and this poppy. I know this is not much compared to what other people stitch, but I was like, wow, look at the progress I've made. This is Ada cloth. It's really nice when you get these kits. They come with everything you need. Usually even a needle is in there, which I always need another needle. So anyway, yeah, this is the center poppy, and then I had done a little bit maybe that I had shown you before, but now I've done more. So, and I know you may wonder, why is she showing that to me so long or so close? I always, when I'm watching a Flosstube, wish I could see it better and that they would leave it up longer so I could see more of the details. So you may not be interested in that, but that's why I'm doing it, because I am interested in it. This one I haven't made a ton of progress on. This is a name sampler I'm doing for my grandmother Lockhart, Della Elizabeth Lockhart, because we have the same name. It's going to have our name. And I had mentioned in the previous video, this is a motif that symbolizes grandma, but I had made a mistake that had to be taken out. So I haven't done a lot, but I corrected my mistake, and that's a little more done. Yeah, this is black work, not cross stitch. So that's Holbein stitch you see. I think I talked about that before. Sorry, this dropped on the floor, and sadly, this floor is not as clean as it should be, so let me pick that up. Oh. Yeah, I don't need to use my cross-stitch fabric to dust this floor. It did a little bit, but anyhow. This is a Santa Claus pattern. I haven't done a whole lot on it, but I've done a little bit of brown and some more red. Let me make sure I have shown you the picture for that, so you know what it's going to look like when it's done. I've had this for 20 years. And that's about a long time ago is when I stitched on it last, besides this year. Might have shown it to you in another video, but I don't know if I had done anything in it. It's from this magazine, Better Homes and Gardens. This is Cross Stitch Christmas. And yeah, it's just a classic Santa Claus, which you can tell from his red suit. Carrying a bag of toys. And so I've just been stitching a little bit here and in different places with this other shade of red. So, yeah, let me try to show that to you a little better. I no longer put masking tape on my patterns for a long time now. That was a bad idea, but I did do it. Yeah, and then I don't know if you can see the other shade of red. anyhow, I would like to stitch on that some more, and it's not going to get done for this Christmas. I just don't stitch enough at one time for that to happen. And and let's see. Then I also had, this is the last project I'm going to show you that is just an update. The others are old projects that I haven't been working on in a long time, that I've never shown you before. But this one I have shown you, the Barn Owl by Cottage Garden Samplings. And this uses weeks dye work, over-dyed floss. This is my only project with that kind of floss. That was a change for me to try to do that. This is just Aida cloth, like Charles Craft Aida cloth. Not sure what the shade of green is, but anyway. I guess a lot of people probably stitch it on linen, and it's a beautiful over-dyed fabric there that you see. But I think this still looks really nice. But I did think that the over-dyed floss for the owl, this is the over-dyed floss. There's only 2 of the skeins that are over-dyed. But that variation in the orange makes a difference in how the owl looks. So that's just 2 strands of floss. She has a whole series of these animals, and I would love to do all of them. Decided to start with this one. I just loved that owl. Let me show you this. I came across this old project that I got floss here for. I don't know. I might have started it, and I need to look and see if I've got that somewhere instead of just starting a new one. But this is Twin Arches. It's by Art Ventures, Long Beach, California. Here, I'm going to show you this. It has their address. And it's from the Across America Landmarks. Yeah. So this is here in Utah, down by Arches National Park. And I don't have anything to show you, just that I came across that and want to work on that. But that I think it may be that I had started it because of having all the floss and everything here. But it's possible that I just went and got the floss so I could start it and haven't started it. Not really sure. Anyhow, I was looking through some boxes trying to find cross stitch and came across some old projects because every time I looked in that box, I thought there wasn't cross stitch in it because the box lid said monk's cloth, not cross stitch. But actually, underneath the towels that were on top was a bunch of cross stitch projects, most of which are starts that I can't even tell what project they are because there's so little done on them. I'll give you an example of some that I actually think I can identify what pattern they were, so I will be able to. This one I'm not positive, but I think I know the pattern that this is from a magazine called Cross Stitch and Country Crafts, and if I'm right, great. If not, then I'll just have to take that out and use it for something else. This I know the pattern. This is actually embroidery, not cross stitch. I'll put it up there, and I'm using pearl cotton. And I had gotten a coloring book and was trying to do a picture for my niece who was into karate at the time. And so it was kind of more of an Asian looking picture, like with an oriental dragon or samurai or something. I can't even remember, but I'll know it when I see it. And I have it in all of my stuff somewhere. This one is the New York skyline. This is pink, a light pink fabric, and then it's just the black New York skyline. Yeah, I haven't done much. Just got it started. But I do, so that that turns into a purse when you finish it. And I just thought it would be really cute. I was making it for someone, so if I actually finish it and make it into a purse, then that will be nice to be able to give that to them. And then I have just a couple more to show you. Like I said, most of the projects were projects that I probably can't figure out what they were. But this is one that actually was almost finished that I had put in there. And this is from that Marie Barber book. There's not a lot left to do on it. This is when I was using like 4 strands of floss. So it's a very, very well covered piece. Let me show you. The book is this. So see, there is supposed to be a border around it that I still haven't done as well. And then the other cross stitch project is this one. This is just white Aida, and it's a tablecloth. It's a Christmas pattern. I didn't grab the book to show you, but I think I had some mistakes on here that I needed to fix. These are like snowflakes. So I need to finish that, and then around the edge there's motifs, so it's just red on white. And this is probably like what you might put on your card table, or what I might put on a card table, or some other kind of table about that size. But no, I probably would put it on an actual card table. That's what we eat on here. Even though we have this fabulous dining room table and other places we could eat, that's just what happens. The other, like three things that I have to show you are embroidery, but I thought I would just show you. They were in that box. This was a felt Christmas stocking with snowflakes that I was trying to embroider, but I think I was dissatisfied that this particular embroidery stitch didn't really cover up how I had drawn the pattern. So I need to take that out and put another stitch to cover it. I don't know if you'll be able to see this one. This is a monogram W that I had designed to do monogram napkins. Probably red is I have this in red on white for my, tablecloth. I don't know if you can see that though, the W that I designed. But anyway, I have a thread here showing where to draw it, and then I drew it on here, but I haven't stitched. So that's a project to work on. And then I have this variegated floss from J&P Coats that's variegated that I was using on this napkins I was making for my friend. I don't know if you can see the design on there. I don't even know for sure if that's lavender or rosemary or what it was that I was stitching. I got it out of an encyclopedia, but there's one there, and then there's another one here. Yeah, you might not be able to see the design. It's very faint, and I have done very little stitching on it, but so I need to do more embroidery on that, and that is the last thing to show you. I don't have anything more for you, but I hope to get a lot more stitching done for the next video and have a lot more to show you. Maybe some other projects that I haven't been working on for the last few months, plus some of these old projects that I haven't worked on in years that I can start working on. And I always have new projects that I'm wanting to start. So I look forward to sharing that with you again. Have a nice day.